Before we start the video, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
We don't have a sponsor.
Rylan is about two almost strangers spending a day together talking about their feelings and doing weird shit. The premise, very much, feels like the Before trilogy. But I would say it's very much its own thing. The first two acts felt very refreshing. The main two leads' chemistry is absolutely amazing to watch. You care for them as people. There's also cutaway gags like a fucking Family Guy episode, but unlike Family Guy, Rylan is actually funny. Though I didn't really like the third act, they dropped the ball big. Where the first two acts are original, breath of fresh air, and charming, the third act is basically kissing both. I haven't seen Kissing Booth, but I guess it's as generic as this, if not more. Also, I wasn't a fan of the cinematography. It feels like a rainbow monster vomited all over the screen. Just because it's flashy does not equate to good. Still, I think Rylan has more good things to offer than bad. Definitely worth your time. Past Lives is hands down the best film of the year. There's still 4 months to go, but I don't think one can top this very easily. Past Lives is constructed in a way that feels personal. Not just for the filmmaker, which it is, but also for the audience. It has all the aesthetic to be a romantic drama film, but there's something about the film that makes you feel like a fly in the wall, watching their lives changing. I'm not gonna say much about the filmmaking, but it's very detailed. But detailed in a way that's not on your face. This film does a lot of time jump, and the director uses some minor little things to establish the time period, and it's pretty clever. I also like the theme of destiny and choice, soulmates and choosing safe. It's a pretty emotional film, so if you're going through a breakup, it's better just to skip it and watch it later with your new girlfriend, you know? Yay. Then I rewatched Singing in the Rain for the 100th time, and it still remains one of my favorite films ever. The film has a lot to say about the industry and about its people. But like Gene Kelly's character Don, this film also has a facade of being a comedy film. Also, Gene Kelly, what a fucking specimen. Go watch this film. Women Talking is a film where the title is stupendously justified. The whole film is just women talking. It feels like the female version of 12 Angry Men, but with a different subject matter. I like the film overall. Of course, it's inspired by the Me Too movement that's been happening for the past 5 or 6 years, and I think it's the perfect time for this film to happen. The screenplay is very engaging. I like the dialogues a lot. Though in the first 10 to 15 minutes, some of the lines were a bit clunky and pandering, but it got better. Don't worry, the performances are great, though I was disappointed that Frances McDormand wasn't in the film much. Maybe they are afraid that she'll get another Oscar, so they're just keeping her away from acting. The acting is great, a truly talented ensemble. I don't hate the direction, but I'm not gonna praise it either. It's fine. Also, I don't really like the cinematography. It's very bland. The score is nice, and it is shedding light on an important topic, though I strongly believe it would have benefited more being a play than a movie. Ennis Men is weird. First of all, this director is very much influenced by the works of Bergman and Tarkovsky. This film's execution also feels like Bergman's Hour of the Wolf, which is also a good movie. But about Ennis Men, I have mixed feelings. I feel like this experimental horror thing would benefit from having a more polished narrative. You pick up certain things here and there, but it's not enough. It feels very pretentious, a weird film for the sake of being weird. I was also very confused, and I didn't enjoy myself watching it. and hopefully someday I'll give it a rewatch to get to the core, but I don't think it has any. I can see this in the future having a cult following, and it's sad, but I'm not gonna be a part of that cult. Then I watched a Japanese horror film directed by Sion Sono. I have been told that this director makes really interesting batshit horror films, and I'm looking forward to see more of his filmography. Though as far as Tag is concerned, I can't exactly say I loved it. It's certainly very interesting and a very unique sort of film. I think it's based on a book or something which I obviously haven't read, but as a film it really shines when it's being very on the nose weird. I adored the first 30 minutes of the film. It has a strong opening, the acting is really good, especially from Rena Trindle. I hope I'm not butchering that. She puts forth a very convincing performance. The director has no regard for textbook storytelling, which I loved. But what I didn't like is the latter part of the film. When the weird shit is happening, it's very engaging, but at a certain point it slows down. The film takes a breather trying to make sense of what's happening, and I hated that part. I felt somewhat betrayed for not getting the absurd narrative anymore. Does that make sense? Anywho, I will watch more films from this director, Sion Sono, and I'm looking forward to more Japanese horror films. EO is a film about a donkey named EO. EO. That's fun too. It's a movie about a donkey wandering everywhere, experiencing life and witnessing humanity. Sometimes humanity is kind to him. Most of the times it's cruel, or unrealistic. This isn't breaking any grounds. Or Hazard Baltazar, a film by Robert Bresson, already toyed with this idea. But what's new about it? It's his perspective. It's based in our time, so the message panders to this century's philosophy and sentimentality. What the fuck did I just say? Sentimentality. Yeah, okay. I would say for the most part, the pandering isn't jarring or preachy. There's good intentions done somewhat decent. The cinematography is also very eye-catching. There's a scene near a dam is breathtaking, but EO suffers from having a structure. The scenes don't always go hand in hand. The rhythm is always messy. One event doesn't lead to another, and this random approach in the end hurts the narrative. There's also a random incest scene in the end. I did not get it. Why did it need to be there? I don't know. It's fun, but it's an incest scene with no purpose. Still watch EO if you care about animals. At least I hope you do. You like EO, maybe. Hopefully. Elemental was disappointing. I don't think it's a bad animation film, but the same year Across the Spider-Verse has came out, so Pixar's gotta up their game a little bit. Also, this racial allegory is a bit too late. Zootopia already did it better 7 years ago. It's a fucking Disney film. I guess Elemental is also a Disney. Oh, it's all making sense. Ben Affleck and his costumes never works out. We owe it to Ben Affleck and this version of Daredevil though. If not, Charlie Cox would never have been the perfect Daredevil. This film is so bad to a point that it's entertaining. Watch it with your friends. Don't watch it alone. Like me.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not.
Mulan. Oh, yeah, just talking about it makes me wanna kill myself. Unalive myself. Sorry, YouTube. Unalive myself. I watched the live action version, and I have never hated a film this passionately in a long time. Mulan, the real film, released in 1998, is one of my favorite animated film of all time. And this feels like a soulless corporate cash grab, which it is, and it's trying to pander to the Chinese audience and ironically failing in that regard too. So I guess poetic justice. Watching the live action made me sick, so I revisited Mulan again. It's still charming, it's very funny, it's very entertaining. The score is, I think, probably the best from Disney, next to only the Lion King. I'll Make a Man Out of You remains one of my favorite songs ever. This film is just a banger. Watch it, don't watch the live action. Man Bites Dog is not an easy film to go through. It constantly challenges the viewer while maintaining a sinister charm. I have no idea how they pulled it off. What fascinates me the most, as these horrific things happen, they up the scale of implications more and more. So it is vile to say the least, but at some point the viewers do get desensitized to the whole thing. It becomes poignantly casual, which also raises all sorts of ethical conundrums. As far as the technical stuff goes, I love the direction. It's very cheeky. The filmmakers did some stuff so casually that amuses you as a cinephile, and you can't help but admire it. Man Bites Dog is horrific, but it never shies away from being too real. And if you're that kind of audience, you'd love this one. And by that kind of audience, I mean if you are fucked up. Jungle Fever is fantastic. It's always profound to see racism portrayed from a black person's point of view. The white people's racism is very on the surface, for the most part. It's very black and white. It doesn't have anything interesting to say. It's mostly about a white guy learning to let go of his racism through the lens of his self-actualization. I'm looking at you, Green Book. But someone who has suffered through this absurd injustice can present a much more nuanced take on racism. And Spike Lee has always done that. Spike Lee makes a narrative so frustrating that it has to be real. The satire is on point. The dialogues are so effortlessly hilarious. The characters are unlikable, but it's on purpose, I think. Sam Jackson and John Turturro is fantastic. As for my issues, I don't like how it's shot. The cinematography is kind of bland and uninteresting. But other than that, it's pretty awesome. The Flash. The Flash is as good as it can be if you have a convicted criminal as your main character. The Flash is the worst example of nostalgia bit executed terribly, maybe only next to Rise of Skywalker. It would have been great if Warner Brothers, had the gut to fire Ezra Miller. Ezra? What are you doing in my house? I didn't mean it like that. No, Keaton is the worst. You were great, man. No, wait, I'll sign the NDA. I'll sign. Okay, wait.